how's it going? My name's Chris Does. Today I'm going to be talking to you about fair trade coffee. To begin with, what is fair trade coffee?
Typically, fair trade is a designation of coffee where an organization has decided to buy that coffee at what is considered a fair price to pay the growers of that coffee.
The goals with it, from my understanding, is to harvest from folks that they'll actually give like a fair wage for their work and for their product.
To give them a higher rate of pay for the coffee that they get, it's a higher quality of beans because of all the work that it goes into it.
Fair trade certification idea got its start in 1988 in Holland. The idea was that by observing certain criteria, roasters and importers could label their coffee fair trade. Over a decade, this idea became more popular and resulted in the development of the Fair Trade Labeling Organization. This included up to 17 organizations that followed a set criteria to promote and certify fair trade practices. It wasn't until 1998 that the first FLO-approved organization got its start in the U.S. called Fair Trade USA. Okay, so that's what fair trade is, but let's back up a little bit and just talk about how the coffee industry works in general. Well, it all starts with the growers and the pickers. From there, it goes to the coffee middleman, known as a coyote, to the importers and exporters, and then makes it to the roasters. After the roasters, it's usually headed over to coffee shops or to the individual retailer. So coffee is the second most traded product in the world to petroleum. Current prices right now in the US market are $1.27 per pound. At this rate, if there's not anybody looking out for the best interests of the farmer, it means that farmers are probably getting paid somewhere between 40 and 60 cents per pound. Typically, this would mean that workers and growers are getting paid about $2 to $3 per day, which comes to about $700 to $800 per year, depending on how many days they're working. Under fair trade regulation right now, farmers get paid $1.40 per pound, and then that also usually includes a commitment for 1 to 10 years of buying from that farmer. So one of the most important steps in the process is getting from the farm to the roaster.
My name is Jason Kane. I work at Pablo's Coffee. I've been in the coffee industry for 17 years. Well, our process goes like this. We assemble samples of coffee from various importers. They come in about 1 pound amounts, and we'll get up to maybe 20 or 30 at a time. We'll sample roast them, and then we'll collectively cup them blind without knowing what they are. So generally we'll make our buying decisions based only on flavor. That way it's truly getting to the best tasting coffees that we can get our hands on. Oftentimes they do tend to be fair trade certified transfer coffees, and oftentimes they're from family farms. We also, a lot of the family farms, you can't have a family farm and be fair trade certified. So if you have your own farm and you and your family works on it, you can't get that certification. However, some of the best coffees in the world are being grown by smallholder farmers that aren't collectively organized.
So typically, different roasters will have different methods of choosing and buying coffee, probably depending most upon their size and values. The next step in the process, maybe the most important step in the process, is you and I, the consumer. How do we buy our coffee?
I always buy whole bean and then grind it home before I brew. And especially in the last year, I've started buying from local roasters. And I'm just choosing different ones, around town that, I've learned a little bit more about. and buying from them because I know they do small batch and what I believe to be fair trade, although I've not investigated it that much.
I typically try to buy organic coffee. We get that from a big brand box store such as Costco or Sam's Club. And I believe that coffee we do usually buy, just because it's cheap, is fair traded.
Love the idea of fair trade coffee. I feel like it should be fair trade for all coffee.
So the question is, should we buy fair trade coffee?
You know, fair trade coffee isn't going to save the world. It's
Right.
definitely is impacting people's lives in a positive way in a lot of circumstances. But other coffees impact people's lives positively as well. So there's no no stamp that is an answer. You know, there's no way to consume your way to a truly clean conscience in this society. You know, you can definitely try to do what you can do though.
It's a good question, and there's probably not a black and white answer. Like Jason pointed out, there can be a lot of hoops for small holder farms to jump through to become fair trade certified. And there are other ways of guaranteeing that farmers can get a fair wage for their product other than fair trade labeling. Perhaps the best thing that we can do is be mindful and engage with the products that we're buying. This could be talking to the roasters about the beans. It could be researching a product before we buy it off the shelf. All right, so that concludes our introduction to fair trade coffee. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me at wanderingbarista.wordpress.com. Thanks.